Okay, I guess looks like we can get started here. Thanks again, everyone, for joining this morning. My name is Callie Morris. I'm an account manager here at Viscosity. I'll be your commentator for this morning's webinar. In today's session, we're featuring Viscosity's COO, Jerry Ward, and Oracle's solution architect, Aaron Kahn. With that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jerry Ward for an introduction and a quick background on Viscosity. Thanks, guys.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Callie, and thanks everyone for joining today. So this is going to be a presentation around Oracle's Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service with Aaron Kahn, a solution architect at Oracle. And I'd like to just level set and give you a short background. I promise to be brief about our firm. So we are, oops, sorry, this is the wrong slide. Give me 1 second. This is the right one. So we're about 100 consultants. We're based in Dallas. We have offices in Houston, Austin, Texas, and Chicago. We're Oracle evangelists. We do over 100 presentations each year. We have a proven track record. Clients always ask us to come back. We specialize in end-to-end solutions, and I'll show you a use case before we turn it over to the demo of what an end-to-end solution might look like. And we're MBE and SBE certified consulting company. I also like to say that we've written the books on Oracle. In fact, we've written over 22 books on Oracle apps and data. We like to, a lot of these are with Oracle Press and A-Press, and some of them are, with smaller publishing houses. But we like to collaborate with Oracle product managers. As you can see, these Oracle Press books, we've collaborated with a number of product managers, and that gives us a direct line to Oracle. So, we can actually bypass support and go straight to the product managers in many cases. Here's a sampling of some of our clients. They range from small to medium-sized businesses all the way to the Fortune 50. We work with for-profit companies, publicly traded companies, nonprofits, and everything in between. I like to say we have 3 pillars at Viscosity. One is around data and databases. Another is around infrastructure, be it on-premise infrastructure like data centers or cloud infrastructure like Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, OCI, and applications. Our apps include ERP Cloud and the Enterprise Performance Management Cloud Suite. We also support a number of legacy ERP systems from Oracle, including eBusiness Suite, JD Edwards, and PeopleSoft. And we can do anything from small focused workshops to assessments all the way up to turnkey projects and managed services. To give you an example of how we look at end-to-end solutions, one case is that we are presenting, that we presented with an open world is the digital farm use case. And this is one of our clients that is into livestock in 22 countries. And we built an end-to-end flow into planning and budgeting from their various systems. They had a number of ERP systems, transactional systems, but they also had devices that they placed on the animals and within the farms that collected data real time and streamed that data. So we preface this by consolidating all of their data into a data warehouse. So that's kind of the data pillar. And then feeding that into planning and budgeting as drivers. So they were able to do things like look at overall health index of animals and use those as drivers to their planning and budgeting system. We also help them get to close faster with FCCS. And this company is pre-IPO. So as they prepare for their IPO or public debt offering, the enterprise performance managing enterprise performance management came into play. So that helped with their tax authorities, with their auditors. Another view, this is more of a logical view, where we're basically taking the data from their various transactional systems and their IoT systems, rolling that up into a streamlined data source, and then feeding that into Oracle EPM Cloud. With this approach, they were also able to not only do their financial reporting with EPM Cloud, get financial consolidation and close, get to close faster, but they were also able to do their operational reporting. So we could do things like connect their financial transactions with their genetic transactions, connect their financial transaction with their clinical and their farm data. So let's shift gears and talk a little bit about EPM Cloud. This is from last year. Oracle's the leader in this quadrant from planning and analysis. And they're also the leader, or one of the leaders, in the enterprise integration platform. And we leverage both EPM Cloud and Oracle's data products to deliver an end-to-end solution for our clients. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Aaron Kahn, who will give a demonstration of the planning and budgeting cloud service. Aaron?
All right. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yep, perfect.
All right. So welcome to my presentation, helping customers migrate to Oracle's complete cloud. My name is Aaron Kahn. I've been with Oracle for almost 7 years now. And prior to Oracle, I spent the better half of a decade building Excel models, entering invoices in green screen when I first started out my career, building SAP SQLs as a SAP consultant in energy at Capgemini. So I really understand your pains, and this is why I joined Oracle. And I'm really excited to introduce to you Oracle's complete cloud and framework, and really introduce you to the ecosystem. This is just a safe harbor statement. We'll probably go over a little bit of futures, but most of everything that you're going to see today is already out in the platform. And then for the agenda today, we're going to start off with some of the disruptions and innovations that are going on in the industry and why that is actually a good thing for you. Oracle EPM Cloud and the growth that we're seeing and why we're growing so fast, and then ultimately just an overview, and we'll jump into the demonstration. I'll try to go pretty quickly through the presentations, might take about half the time, and then we'll jump in and do a little sneak peek of the software as well. Does that sound good with everybody? So let's start off with the innovation that's going on in industry. I usually start off with a question. I'm in live, usually in front of customers, and talk about, what's some of the constant things in life? Well, one big thing is things are always changing. And I always start off with a quote talking about how, might not necessarily be the strongest or the most intelligent that survive, but the most adaptable, the ones that are most adaptable to change. Because we're seeing a lot of new technologies, new services, new business models, as we just saw in the previous business case, using the Internet of Things in the animal farms in that case study we saw. So they're leveraging a lot of these emerging technologies and embedding them into the EPM apps, into the EPM ecosystem. We talked about the Internet of Things at the farm. We actually told that story to that company. The story that we were telling is how General Electric is leveraging their Internet of Things devices to do preventative maintenance and plan out their preventative maintenance budget for their trains and other different things that they're working on, and pull that into their enterprise planning application so they have a better visibility into their expenses. And we're actually already been doing intelligent apps today. We have predictive planning built in to our planning and budgeting tool, as well as machine learning, AI, and a very robust robotics process automation as well. Let me get this update out of there. So what robotics process automation is really going to help you do is automate a lot of the tasks during the close process. So in our task manager, you'll see that it has a Gantt chart built in, so you can run the close like it's a project, and then any predecessors or ancestors, when that task is complete, will understand that it can actually automatically kick off another task, such as consolidations or closing the books of a foreign entity, or vice versa. So you don't have to wait on things happening abroad to complete a task domestically. And as we go through this process and this evolution, as we've done historically, the focus has historically been on operations and making it more efficient. And we're going to take that and take it up a level now and focus on innovation. Use that abundance of data to really drive better outcomes. Save the signals faster, like the Internet of Things story, from the farm animals to GE, using the Internet of Things to really adapt and be more proactive rather than reactive. So you can ultimately run your organization smarter, more efficiently, and of course, more securely, as Oracle has the most secure, complete end-to-end platform. It's all Oracle based, from the databases to the security of those databases. In fact, it's all Oracle badged employees to the single sign-on that the business users see today, and everything in between. Another big trend in the industry right now is time. What's the value of your time? Well, historically, it was across, as you look at this chart here, on the vertical axis, you see time, and then across the bottom is the different tools that have evolved. And historically, a lot of accountants and finance departments were using Excel, and in blue, you see most of the time was spent on manually ticking and tying the data, manually reconciling the data, and, just data entry. And we're really trying to help automate that and allow you to have more time for analysis, which is where EPM comes in. The future is going to be around the focus of redefining what is true value-add activity. We're rebranding it intelligent performance management rather than just enterprise performance management. That's going to give you a lot of value-added activity, so that you're not hunting and pecking and clicking 1,000 times to find one data point as you do your analysis. Rather have, say, hey Alexa, find the variance that exceeds a certain threshold, and it'll do that 1,000 click for you, so you can get to the data point that you need. So you could spend more time doing strategic analysis, more time doing strategic decision making, and really just taking action and elevating the value of your jobs and the value of your company ultimately. All right, so that was just kind of a sneak peek of some of the innovation that's going on. Just wanted to touch on some of the growth and why we're growing so fast. So in the cloud, we're seeing about 6,500 cloud customers, both ERP and EPM cloud. About 2/3 of those are EPM cloud customers. So we are seeing almost 4,000 customers have adopted EPM cloud in the last several years. We've with Oracle invested over $6 billion in R&D, and now we're across 90 different countries and 20 different industries. This is just an example of some of them. From the energy companies across the top, ATCO is the largest energy customer, or one of the largest energy providers in Canada. From financial services and fintech, MasterCard, business services like FedEx, even Facebook and Dropbox and Airbnb are adopting the majority of our cloud solutions. Coca-Cola recently adopted account reconciliations. Just very large companies to the startups that we've talked to as well, and everything in between. All right, so now let's go over a brief overview of the EPM Cloud Suite, and then we'll jump into the demonstration. So I just want to go over why we're the most complete enterprise EPM solution in the modern workplace. 3 different reasons. If you don't remember anything else today, just remember that we have the most complete solution. We're an innovation powerhouse. As we saw on Jerry's slide, we're widely recognized as the leader in EPM, and also it's the broadest and deepest and most complete solution available. So first off, we kind of touched on some of this with the innovation that's going on, but 2 things that we didn't talk about is, one is the thousands and thousands of patents that we're updating every year and creating new ones. So a lot of you might have heard of Essbase and SmartView. We've had that solution for more than a decade, if not 2, and we're constantly innovating and creating new patents for that solution. And also, we've heavily invested in customer success manager department. So there's a big department, that an entire wing dedicated to customer success in Austin, as well as several international ones as well. So we're heavily investing in making sure that you're successful. This is just more on the Gartner Magic Quadrants, which we kind of already touched on, but the middle one is what we already saw. On the left is the consolidations, and then on the right is the ERP cloud. So as you can see, we're kind of the leaders. We are the leaders in all of the different areas that are important to you in the finance department. And what's not on here is HCM, which we're now tied with Workday, and our new CX solution, which is very close to being tied with Salesforce. So we have that complete end-to-end solution. The only one that I haven't talked about is supply chain, which we're one of the clear leaders as well. So more on focusing on EPM and why we are the most complete solution. As you see, starting along the left here with the close and consolidation, it's not just a consolidation tool like it was HFM. It actually embeds the close task manager and that RPA, that robotics process automation, to help automate some of the tasks for you. In addition, we've embedded account reconciliations and tax provisioning, as well as country by country reporting. And then we have a strong calculation tool that allows you to take advantage of some of these processes to do more advanced things like transfer pricing or shared service costing allocations. And then on the right here, we have the planning and budgeting and forecasting tool. Some of the processes that you might see, of course, the typical forecasting, annual operating plan. You can do driver-based planning, trend-based planning. This is where predictive planning that I mentioned earlier is already embedded into the solution. And then you can leverage those trends to better drive your forecasts and plan. You also have the ability to do the most robust zero-based budgeting as well as strategic long-term planning. So think planning out 5, 10, 15 years, as long as you want to plan it out, and planning for M&A, divestitures, planning for new products. Do we buy, acquire a new company, or do we create, use R&D to create our own new products? Do we, issue equity to raise funds, or do we issue debt, or do we, use the cash on hand? Just all those big CFO, CEO level questions you can plan out in a long-term plan, and then allocate and push it down to the driver base, to the annual operating plan. And then this is all has a nice layer of management and statutory reporting built in. And then you're able to pull in data from any source system. So it's data agnostic. You pull in data from Oracle, from non-Oracle, from the cloud, from on-premise, from Excel, file, wherever you want to bring in the data, it's data agnostic. We have, the industry best-in-class integration tool built in. It comes, both reporting and the data integration tool comes with the EPM platform now, so you don't have to pay extra for it. And then, of course, it's going to be able to leverage the data across all the different lines of business, whether it's marketing, operations, finance, HR. You're able to pull in data from any of the source systems and also from those operating departments. So you can empower marketing to own their campaign planning, if you will. You can empower HR to own their compensation planning, their headcount planning, and all, of course, from the financial perspective. Including IT costing, IT financial planning, as well as territory and quota management, planning out those financial impacts for the sales forecasting, if you will, and pulling in data from CX. We're not these, as I talk about this, we're pulling in data from CX, we're pulling in data from the HR platform, the HCM platform, right, from supply chain to better, have a better forecast plan and budget for your annual and long-term plan. And then the business users can do this from the iPad, from their desktop, from a laptop, wherever they have access to an internet browser, they can have access to the system. And of course, with the single sign-on built in. And then we have the Smart View or Excel add-ins as well for those that are familiar with that. We can touch on that if you have more questions. And then, as I mentioned, it's intelligent. So it's complete, connected, intelligent. So we're embedding AI, as we talked about. We're embedding Internet of Things. Even blockchain is becoming something that's embedded into these platforms that ultimately give you this best-in-class solution. So, jot down any questions if you have here. Typically, I'd open it up for additional questions, but since it's a WebEx, we'll keep going. One more thing, we didn't do this overnight. We've been doing this for many years, if not decades, from the microcontrol days in the 80s to Hyperion Enterprise in the 2000s eras. And then today we've created the most robust platform from, as we mentioned, all those different layers. And now it's surfaced and available to you in the cloud. and then bring us current date to 2018, 2019 with all the different AI, intelligent process automation, some of the new processes that are building in, such as country by country reporting, transaction matching, and our account reconciliation tool. It's all in one solution. But just, wanted to make it clear that we've been doing this for many decades, and we have the latest and greatest available to you guys today. And another big point, my last point, besides it being the most complete solution, there's a lot of out-of-the-box features that come with our solution, and only our solution provides the out-of-the-box features. It's not a starter kit. It's not something you have to maintain. It's maintained by Oracle, such as various KPIs. Our tax solution comes with 60 KPIs. Our financial close and consolidation has direct integration and logic to do the intercompany eliminations, to do the financial statements integration from balance sheet to cash flow. All the financial statements are integrated through the financial statement model, both for consolidations and statutory reporting, as well as for planning and budgeting. It has those financial statement integrations out of the box and all the logic built in to have it fully integrated. So you don't have to maintain those calculations, such as the cash flow calculations. And then it all ultimately surfaces in those reports for you. Another big thing that we'll talk about is supplemental data manager. Big value add for the consolidations to have the ability to have a module to hold those supplemental data, such as PPE roll forwards, debts, schedules, and then you can put those in your footnotes as well. And it will all be live data. So with that said, just want to reiterate, the complete solution from planning across all the different lines of business, as well as corporate FP&A, from not just consolidations to all the close. It's all embedded into a robust analytics and reporting framework with live data, and you have the metadata as well that's integrated. And then, of course, all the different emerging technologies are coming out, give you the most complete and robust EPM platform. So with that said, I'm going to jump into the demonstration. Okay, so what we're looking at now is the home screen, and I'm logged in as Denise Adams, and Denise is actually the admin, so she can see everything. On the left-hand side, she can see various tasks that are open, various tasks that are late, anything that was, if it was due today, or anything that's upcoming in the coming days. If I clicked on this tour, you would actually see this, what's it called, this academy. And the academy is really important because it has YouTube videos. It has a lot of different things that are important to me, such as getting started in an application. Since I'm logged in as an administrator, I can see the administrating tasks. Any of the processes that you're doing from day to day to consolidations, approvals, supplemental data reporting, it has it all built in here, and it's just videos, and you can see the times of those videos. So it's just really nice to have that at my fingertips. And then since I'm logged in as Denise and it's one platform, I have access to my financial close, to my plan, my forecast. I started putting in country by country reporting, and I can put all the different processes that are important to me in one home screen, so that when I click in here, it's really just like folders or Windows folders. But instead of Windows folders, they look like apps on your iPhone. So when you click in a folder on your iPhone, it gives you, a list of other apps. Think of these more as like folders and processes that are important to you, and more workflow as you go across the platform. So I can see I have the close status here. And this is kind of like a dashboard that I can see all the different tasks that are important to me, such as by priority, whether the tasks are high, medium, or low priority, or by organization unit, or maybe let's do by task type would be a little bit important. So maybe these are all the forms that I need to enter in data. These are just dashboards and managing journals. So I can have those tasks in a dashboard view. I can see what's open, what's late, what's on time, and then from there I can see what's for the specific calendars. I can create additional calendars. So right now I'm in June 2012 calendar, but I can create multiple calendars, like supplemental data calendar or my tax calendar. Or maybe, if I'm the corporate controller, I can see the domestic calendar and then the Europe's close calendar. So I can have those built in. And then as a controller, I want to be able to orchestrate the close process and have some compliance built in. So I can see what's on time, what's late, what's ever been late. So if I come in here and I I can see, by user or by organization unit. So if I want to look in by organization unit, I can see all the different business units or legal entities, from business unit 1 or maybe Canada or Europe. And then here I can see, color coded what's at risk, what's ever been late. So I can focus on, bottlenecks that typically happen over time, anything that needs attention, anything that's pending. And then I started creating some custom ones. You can click configure here, and I put it by rejection count. So if they have a lot of rejections, maybe a task keeps getting rejected over and over again, I can focus on that one and see what's going on. As the corporate controller, I can take action. So this gives you that control and visibility of what's going on in your close process, rather than having an Excel or whiteboard, or even, some people still have it on a piece of paper. And then maybe I want to focus, on various tasks that are important to me. I can click on the close tasks, and it's going to bring up a list of all the tasks that are built to me, important to me. I can create schedules and lists that are, my own ones. I can save them off. In this way, we organize into 3 steps or 3.5 steps of the planning process. So you can see this is not just the close. I'm actually embedded all the different processes across the entire organization. So I can see, setting strategic goals, maybe the allocation targets. I can, it's already been run, so I can see the status is it's complete and closed. But if it wasn't run, I would click on this, and as it pulls up, I could see that I embedded actually a planning process into this closed calendar, so I can have, multiple different tasks that are built in, not just for consolidation, but for close. It can be embedded with your ERP system, with your planning system. Any of the Oracle systems that are in the cloud can have a direct link and create tasks that are embedded here as well. What's going to be pulled up is we're going to see all the different products along the left, all the different ones across the right. And then we can even take action here, such as reopening the task or going to the next task. So you can have this as your workflow. But for those that are familiar with planning, this is actually a planning form that's built in. It's a data repository form. It could be a data entry form if you wanted to. It actually has the ability to allocate, if I wanted to, this pre-tax income all the way down to, and I could pick various scenarios. So if I was in strategic, I just worked on my strategic plan and I wanted to use the base scenario, the forecast scenario, maybe I had a premium pricing strategy that we decided to go with, I can allocate this down into the target version so that it can be compared to the working version of the plan that's from the bottoms up perspective. So this is more of a corporate, tops down perspective, and then the business users can enter their plan, and then they can be compared against each other. But just wanted to touch on the ability to have that built in. And then from here, maybe you want to look at, various close processes that are built in, such as loading the data, closing, Europe, or loading the data in North America, performing high-risk reconciliation. So I embedded the reconciliations task into this tool as well. Or we could continue on and go in and do the reconciliations across the top. So you have a couple of different options of working through the various tasks, whether it's in this task list or across the top in these folders, which we'll focus on. So we already saw the reconciliation, or we saw the task example. Let's jump into what it would look like if I just worked across the top. So next, I'm going to jump into reconciliation compliance, loading data from various trial balances and general ledgers. We'll look at some topside eliminations, Forex, and supplement data, and we'll kind of go across the top as we have time here. And of course, I just wanted to show you it's based on your role and security in the organization. So based on my role, it immediately brought me into the tax list, but maybe we want to flip over to high risk reconciliations. And what's nice is I have these reconciliations built in here for me, and I can come in and I can take action. I can add filters. Maybe they're already, it looks like a lot of them are already closed. But if they weren't closed, I could click in here. Let's take a look at a prepaid expense one. And this one's already been completed for me. What's nice is I can see the balance summary. It has the ending balance. If I had it drill through, I could actually drill through to the source system where it came from. Or I can flip over and click on the balance explanations and see the one explanation, why it was out of balance. And we can click in here and see what's going on with this out of balance explanation. It has the since it's complete, it's all grayed out, but I can see the transaction dates. I can see the balance explanations. And then since it's imbalance, we don't need any other explanations. You have no unexplained difference out of balance. If you wanted to create an amortization schedule or a creating schedule, you can actually put the amortizing amount, and then it would create automatically out of the box a format that has the amortization schedule built in. You can add comments, attachments, have the workflow built in. The workflow is really nice because you can actually have teams. So this is the AP preparers. So if I came in, I could see who claimed it. So this is all my teammates. If I claimed it, then if I came over to the reviewers, I wouldn't see my name over here because it has the segregation of duties, right? So I don't see my name. I can't be a reviewer and a preparer. Balance is in. There's no unexplained difference. For high risk, won't actually say you have to approve it. And so typically we see a lot of customers auto approve, and have thresholds built in to automate a lot of their tasks and a lot of their account reconciliations. Maybe about 80 to 90% of them can be automated. In fact, Amazon is using the on-premise version, which has very similar functionality to this, but they're doing thousands and hundreds of thousands of reconciliations. We even have the ability to do transaction matching, so high volume transaction matchings are also available in this platform. And then you can create reconciliation reports. So you can create flux analysis or variance analysis reports that are built in. And these are out of the box reports that you can build in. Here's some examples of them. Summary, you can give this to an auditor so you don't have to give the auditor login credentials or sit there side by side. You can just create it in any of these formats and then submit it to them. It just saves a lot of time and work. But that's just kind of a high level overview of the reconciliation, compliance, and transaction matching solution. I'm going to jump into data integration. So as I mentioned earlier, you're able to pull in data from any source system, whether it's Oracle or non-Oracle. So this is just an example of a form along the left, pulling in data from our Oracle ERP. So if I came in here, I could drill back to the source solution, and then it would go all the way to Oracle ERP. Or for Finland, maybe this would be PeopleSoft. For Portugal, it could be Oracle EBS or JD Edwards. And then Singapore is just a flat file. So that could be any source system. From Great Plains to Excel, anything that you can generate, AS400, you can generate a data file, and then we can pull that data in. And then from there, we can come in and we can do top side eliminations, intercompany eliminations. Maybe we want to start off with an intercompany report, a balance sheet report. And immediately we can see North America and the 4 different entities that roll up to North America and any eliminations that happen. The eliminations happen at the first common parent. So as we see the roll up here, these are the eliminations across the North America entities. And then I can drill in and see the detail of any of the intercompany receivables. So there's 125,000 in intercompany receivables. Let's see what's going on in this case. So this is what's called an embedded report or related content. And I can create links to reports that will query and pull up the additional report in the point of view that the report is in for me. So let me go over to that report. I got my pop-up blocker on. All right, so notice it brought me in the exact same point of view, carried over that point of view, so it drilled into that query. So I can see the eliminations that only happened, I don't need to see all 4 of them, so I hid anything that had a 0 in it. So it just has business unit 1 or legal entity 1 and legal entity 2, and the eliminations that occurred. So I can see that 125,000 in eliminations, what actually occurred. So along the left-hand side, we have intercompany receivables, intercompany payables, then the intercompany partners of the entities that are across the top. So legal entity 1 has intercompany partner with legal entity 2 of 118,000 for intercompany receivables, and then it's going to get eliminated before it rolls up to North America. The 2 international ones, United Kingdom and France, aren't going to get eliminated because North America is not the first common parent. Total company is. So if I selected the point of view total company instead of North America, we'll see these 4 regions rolling up to total company get eliminated, since that total company is the first common parent for them. So as I click on that, we'll see total company, North America and APAC are the only ones to have the intercompany eliminations going on. And then we can see that it actually happened at the first common parent. And these are the eliminations, and then it rolls up to 0. So it's just nice to have that intercompany report out of the box at your fingertips to see what the eliminations are going on. Now, what's also cool is we have the out-of-the-box intercompany matching report. So a lot of customers see a lot of value in having this report. So I can come in here and select all the entities at level, the descendants and all the different base level entities to see what's out of balance, or maybe we just want to focus on one of them, legal entity 1, and see if there's anything out of balance. So I can pick level entity 1 and see all the different partners, so all the different descendants or level 0 members of the intercompany partners of legal entity 1. And then I could put tolerances in there and variance amounts. So if I wanted to see anything, it's exact match of zeros, or if there's some tolerance that you have, you can put, tolerance of 1% or under, and then you can run the report in PDF, HTML, Excel. When I run the report, it will give you a little bit more idea here of what's going on. Let me zoom in. And so just quickly, it has all the different selections that I have across the top, but just to keep it simple, I ran it for legal entity 1. So this is the entity 1, and then this is my partners. And then we can see the intercompany payables, my intercompany payables for my entity 1, and then the partner receivables. And this looks like it's in balance, it's 0. So everything's looking good for my partner legal entity 2, but it looks like maybe Canada's looking good. United Kingdom looks like it's out of balance. So we want to go in and make an intercompany adjustment. Before this demo, I actually made one adjustment for you with intercompany legal entity 1 and the partner 2, and to get it in balance. So let's take a look at how we would make an adjustment or topside adjustment to get it back into balance. Maybe we make a phone call, email, call somebody to do our investigations, drill in, use the robust reporting. We found out, maybe there was some sort of marketing expense that came in one time. So we would go in, and once we knew that, we'd come in here and instead of posting to our general ledger and spending a lot of time, we want to make a quick, maybe it's the end of the month, we want to make a quick adjustment. We can come in here and to correct the intercompany balance, you can post a topside adjustment. And I posted that 64,000 debit and credit to get it back into balance for intercompany out of balance with legal entity 1 and legal entity 2 to get it back into balance. And it was for the revenue clearing account and the intercompany receivable account to get it back into balance. And it has workflow built in, so you can't just come in and post it on your own. You can first create it, then submit it, then it gets approved or rejected, and then ultimately whoever has the rights would go ahead and post it. Maybe I want to go ahead and unpost it just to show you. Well, if we unposted it, we'd have to go through the consolidations. I haven't ran the consolidations, so we're not going to see anything too meaningful, but I'll explain how it works in just a second. You come in and make intercompany adjustments. You can make IFRS adjustments. So if you have different areas that you want to post it, it can recognize that maybe, for multi-GAAP, you have the ability to post a local or an IFRS adjustment, so you can see the difference GAAP to IFRS and see where the adjustments are made. So we'll see a report that breaks those two down as well. So let's take a quick look at the consolidation piece here. So if I made those adjustments and I had run the consolidations prior, we would see January, February, March, April, May, and June. And if I unpost it, we'll see this okay go to impacted. So let me go back and unpost that one. So if I unpost it, now it's going to impact the consolidations here. And we can see it's impacted, and then I could go ahead and run the consolidations. Obviously, I'd do probably the opposite. I would have it, unposted, and then I would post it. We'd see the impact, and then I would run the consolidations. Now, typically, consolidations, when you run these, would take a very long time. It could take a day back in, maybe 10 years ago. Over the last few years, it would take maybe 24 hours. Then we sped it up, got it down to an hour. Today, it only takes a few seconds, if not 15 seconds, to run the consolidations that historically would have took hours, if not days, to run, just because you're running on the most powerful databases in the world, and it's only a matter of how fast your internet connection is. I'm on a home internet connection here, probably at 30 megabits, just very slow connection, but it's still going to be able to run what would take hours, if not days, in a matter of seconds. What it's doing is it's consolidating all the data, converting, doing the currency translations of all the different countries, rolling up any of the eliminations. It's doing everything for you out of the box. It's ticking and tying all the financial statements as well. Just a lot going on behind the scenes when you run this consolidation. And it was only ran in about 30 seconds and did everything out of the box for me. So it's just really nice to be able to do that. And obviously, this isn't something you're going to do every second, maybe once a day the most. Typically, once a week or month, running consolidations. I ran it at a total company, but you certainly can run it at at different regions or countries or however low you want to do it. And you can, in addition, you can make these tasks that are automated. So once the last journal is posted, it will run the consolidations overnight, so I don't have to wait for a foreign entity to run that consolidations. So as you can see here, we have a balance sheet report. And since I consolidated, we saw the 15,000 journal input here. And we can see that the 15,000, 5,000, and if we drilled in, we can see what it made up of. And that was that intercompany, that was that sales report that we made the adjustment for. And we can see that, maybe the 15,000 for the equipment. See if we drill in here, we can see the depreciation of 5,000. And this was that journal entry we did, and it's going to post it in the specific area. So managed data might be all the data that came in from the source system. Data input could be manually inputted data, and then journals could be from your managed journal entries. In addition, I mentioned you can see multi-gap. So if we posted to gap or local gap, we could see, okay, here's the 100K for that journal. That data input was actually for local gap. If I scroll down, I can see maybe this journal input was for an IFRS adjustment, and it rolls up the total IFRS here. So we can see the total and then drill in and see the two adjustments. All right, so next I want to take a look at some of the foreign currency analysis. So here I can see the different entity currency where the data is loaded. Across the left-hand side is some of my income statement accounts. And then it automatically converts to the parent currency. Since the parent currency is USD, you're going to see it's not going to make any difference here. But if I look at Finland, it will be from entity currency of euros to USD. Same with Portugal or Singapore, from the local currency up to convert it to parent currency. And it does that consolidation during the consolidation process. It does that conversion for you at the first common parent, just like the eliminations. And then from there, you can look at actual to last year's variance to see, okay, was the variance year over year due to operational efficiency, or was it maybe just due to currency fluctuations or currency headwinds? I can see on the left here actuals of last year, the actual last year's rate, and then the variance due to the rate rather than just operations. Same with actual to plan. So I can do my constant currency analysis to see what we planned for, see what we did the actuals, and then the actuals at the plan rate, and then the variance due to the difference in the rate, or the variance due to the operational efficiencies. We can see, did we miss because we didn't hit our numbers, or did we miss because of the currency headwinds that we didn't expect as we planned for it. So just really nice to see that constant currency, both actual versus plan and actual versus last year's numbers. And here's where you just enter the rates, and those rates can come in from Bloomberg. They can be manually entered in. In this case, we just have average and ending balance, but you can have it whichever way you like, and you pull the data from any source system. Also, a big differentiator for us is the ability to have that supplemental data schedules built in, whether it's PP&E schedule, whether it's debt schedules, whether it's your investment schedules for any of the, different investments that are coming in, you can see those schedules that are built in here. So we can come in, let's pick a specific, take a look at maybe the investment detail. And we can see that investment detail schedule from, entity one, the investment ID number, the investment group, whether it's QSIP or CDOL for various, equity investments, and domestically or UK, the coupon rate for those bond, if it's a bond, and all the different, the different S&P ratings, whether it's AAA, single A, ratings, the Moody's ratings, whatever data you want to put in here, this is your data that you need to report on for statutory reporting. And then you can embed this into various notes and reports. And then you can have debt investments, operation investments, whether it's headcount, overtime numbers, your PP and roll forwards built in here as well. And then from there, after you go through your close process, maybe we went through the planning and budgeting process as well, you can start doing your analytics and look at dashboards. So what we're looking at here on the left-hand side is a cash flow dashboard, seeing where all the cash movements are, whether it's operating, investing, or financing, or over here, I can actually drill into the various movements or drill into the total assets. So if I wanted to come in here, I can see current versus long-term. Long-term is looks like it's, has the biggest number here, the biggest movement. So I can keep drilling in until I get into, okay, depreciation and tangible fixed assets, keep drilling in. And then ultimately I'm going to get to land. All right, well, we had a large movement in land. I could either drill in here and get through my movements to see, the closing balance, opening to the various movements, movement subtotal, and ultimately get all the way down to, okay, here's operating, investing, and financing. Looks like land had a huge, investment that was made. And then I can draw it down and see, okay, well, it was the capital expenditure and land that had that huge investment. So really nice to have that analytics built in. So several clicks, I can get down to what the large changes is and why. And just to kind of give you a little bit more visual perspective, this is a dashboard. Now I actually have the same dashboard, but it's just built in more of an Excel-like form. So if I drilled into, okay, here's my fixed assets, drill down to tangible, and there's land, there's that huge, large 96,000 that we saw on the dashboard. I can continue drilling down and see, okay, there's that change in capital. So it's just nice to have the options to do both of them. I certainly can do this in Excel as well. So I can drill out and come into what's called Smart View at my fingertips here. And I can just open it up in Smart View and bring it into a live Excel like form in actually Excel, but it's actual live data. And I can copy and paste that data point into Word or PowerPoint, create live reports as well. See if I have some other, here's, we saw some of the reports earlier. We have very robust reporting. So this is an example of a cash flow report. We can see it, monthly or periodic, quarter to date, year to date. We can certainly do month to month comparison. So we can see last month to the current month comparison, as well as prior year. So here's, last month maybe is May, current month is June, and then the variances. And then from here, we can go do year over year comparisons as well. I have it set on FY16, but if we rolled over to FY17, we could see FY17, FY16, and the variances that are involved in that. And there's just lots of reporting that's built in. Another really important one is the ability to do variance analysis and also commentary in the same screen. So I can see the actual to forecast. So maybe here's all the actuals and the consolidations that we just ran through. If we went through the forecast, it would be embedded in the same platform. We can see actuals, forecast, the variances involved, any of the traffic lighting that's built in. So since it's in red, it has large variance over a certain threshold. I can come in here and make an adjustment, make a change. So maybe, the last time I did, we were talking to a guy named Eric. Maybe I'll change it to Aaron this time. Hit save. And it's going to embed not only that comment here, not only on this data point, but it's also we're also going to be able to see it in a report view. So it'll roll up. So when I run these reports, I can run these reports and they're in real time. So I can see, I changed it to Aaron here, and it's going to roll up the hierarchy. And I made it at the wage, or I think salary level. So we can see it here at the salary level, rolls up to its parent, rolls up to here. So we can see at whatever level we have security and access to see. And then we can batch this out on a monthly periodic basis to all the people that it's important to, and they can see what would be actual forecast report here for their analysis. And then also we can take all these reports and we can put them into a book of reports, whether, you called it the red book, blue book, Kelly book, no, just kidding. But any of the books that you want to create your book of reports, it's a consolidating book of reports. So it's not just one report, it's all reports. You run it once at this point of view, and you can pick any point of view that you would like. So if I selected this, I can come through and select it. And those reports that we saw, whether it's the variance report with commentary, we could see that commentary live. It would be embedded in here. I actually changed this report last minute, so I didn't update this book of report. But if I did and had that report in there, you'd see the commentary here as well. And then all the other reports that we were looking at, that periodic quarter to date, year to date cash flow report, all those reports are created in here. We create it once, it refreshes in real time, and then we have that built in. And then we can go on to create operations reports, external narrative reports, cash flow, whatever kind of report that we want to create, we can build those reports into the platform as well. We also have something called narrative reporting, and it has workflow built in so that not only are you creating these financial book of reports, but you can create versions and have commentary going back and forth. So instead of doing it in, share in some sort of SharePoint system, you can build it on our single platform and have workflow, have segregations of duties. I can come in here and, as if I was Carrie, I'd come in here and I'd be responsible for maybe the highlights. And I can come in here and let's view these. So I can preview the author operations review report that Carrie's working on. Once Carrie submits it, it would be submitted to a larger book of reports. And this is a little bit more highly formatted than the previous financial book of reports. This can be in Word or PowerPoint, and everybody can be working on their slice of data simultaneously, whether it's one single piece of the PowerPoint, or maybe in this case, this is the cover page from a previous client that we were working with. And then from there, I can, so Carrie might be working on the cover page and then maybe the highlights. Anything in orange is actually live data. So not only is the data live, the percentage of variance is live, but also the dollar amount, the text is live. So as I roll over, we'll see there's variables, and I can roll over May to June. It will not only roll over May to June, but also change the dollar amounts as well. We can see the year-over-year growth and so on. And so Carrie can be working on these two while everybody else is working on the entire report. And then as I run the entire report, it will have everybody's updates built in. We can toggle and see you can see all the different reports over here on the left-hand side, or all the different PowerPoint pieces that everybody's working on. We can see, the charts and graphs, and these are all live data points that were created in what we call Smart View, and then automatically formatted for you. And it could be anything. It could be financial data, non-financial data. It could be workforce data. We have waterfall reports built in, balance sheet trends, consumer, devices, whatever, server performance, this could be any financial or non-financial data that's important to you. Workforce data, supply chain data, projects data. Here's an example of the digital marketing campaign, kind of bringing it full circle, that you can leverage our project module in the marketing department to run digital marketing campaigns to see what their, our return on marketing investment might be, their ROI. Just various things that, are important to you. And then, you don't have to recreate these reports over and over again. You just create variables, and then you would just edit these variables and roll it over to the next month. So I can come in here, and if I remembered the right naming convention, if it was just June, or if it's, June, you just type in, click OK. If I came back to the report and ran the entire report, it would automatically roll that forward for me. Not only can you do, operational reports, but you also have the ability to do external statutory reports. You can do 10Ks and 10Qs. This is an example of a Word document. And it's just another example of a narrative report that's a book of reports. And we can see all the different reports that I pulled in here. So here's my P&L, my net income statement. Here's the balance sheet that we were working on. And now it's just a little bit more highly formatted, but same data that's built in for me, just in a really nice presentation view. From here, you can do 10Ks and 10Qs. You can do XBRL. It does everything up to the point of filing. We're not filing the taxes for you. We're not filing your 10Ks and 10Qs, but everything up to that point, including the XBRL mapping, and rolling it forward period to period, quarter to quarter, year over year. You have that all built in and all this live data. So all you'd have to do is roll it forward like we saw, hit refresh, and you'd have the latest and greatest data. With that said, Jerry, it's the top of the hour. Should I jump into, I can jump into anything else, planning, budgeting, taxes, opening up for questions. What do you think?
Oh yeah, let's use the remaining time for any questions if anybody has any. Has anybody posted?
We don't have any unanswered questions right now. So anyone watching, go ahead and throw a question, anything you have in the chat. But I guess in the meantime, Aaron, if you had anything else quickly you wanted to run through, you can go ahead.
All right. The last thing, just want to show when we updated from May to June, it automatically updated the entire report. Here's one example. Real time, I didn't go out into PowerPoint or Word yet. I certainly could do it there. Anything you saw here can be done in Word, PowerPoint, or Excel. Just different user interface that's to your liking. But it's nice to have that built in. Let's go back to that you have tax built in, so your monthly tax packages are built in. Any advanced consolidation, so minority interests, can be built in here. This is another example of a narrative report for country by country reporting. And then I can go in and work on my tax revision. Everything I have right here is everything I really need to do my tax revision. And then, we can certainly look at any of the other processes, and then finally, as you go through this process, you can use that journal module that we saw to do that I did the intercompany eliminations. I can certainly use that to post the journal at the end. So just like, the reports, the tax department can be working on their tax revision throughout the entire process. And then once they're finished, the end of the year, end of 9 months out, whatever it happens to be, you can post your journal in the managed journal entry. And then all you really have to do is load the data in here and just see, if there's any variances between the statutory and book or statutory and effective tax rate. If there's anything large variances, you can certainly come in here and just drill in to legal entities and drill in, domestic entities all the way down and see statutory to ETR side by side. And then you'd go through and you can make any adjustments. You can look at temps and perms and temporaries and permanent differences as well. Deferred taxes, what else? The current tax payable. But the point of this is to really empower the tax provisioning owner to have the people underneath them post the data in there, check it for them, so that they become a manager of the process rather than just someone checking to make sure the data is correct, right? They want to empower their users to do those adjustments. We automate a lot of the adjustments. We have adjustments that are built in, so you can come in here and make adjustments. And what you're looking at now is just a form that's embedded across tax, consolidations, planning and budgeting, forecasting, any of the processes you have. You can do these same data adjustments here. And you can actually see, if I right-clicked on it, we could see any of the change history, supporting detail, comments, attachments. We can make adjustments and allocations and spreading data back from top-side adjustments, spread it back month over month, quarter over quarter. It has that financial and time intelligence built in.
Hey, Aaron.
And lastly, yes.
We do have a question. How long is standard implementation of planning and budgeting cloud service?
Sorry, how standard is it?
Yeah, like how long is the time frame? for implementation?
We've seen, you know, just depends on how robust. You actually have 4 modules that you can implement for planning and budgeting, whether it's just the core financials, 3-statement model, whether it's workforce, projects, CapEx. If you just implement one module, probably 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 4 to 8 weeks. And then once you get one module implemented, it's pretty quick to get the next ones up and running. So it's usually weeks, months, depending on how robust it is, up to 2 to 6 months. 6 months would be Walmart got theirs done in, I think, under a year. Some of the companies that are the Fortune 500, under 6 months. Some of the, Fortune 1000, maybe 3 months. Just depends on how robust your process is. But it's very simple. A lot of this is out of the box. So as I flip over to planning and budgeting, just wanted to show you, when you implement this, it's just a click of a button to turn on and configure a lot of these. We're actually seeing a lot of people, and we can see a lot of the customizations. Our product managers can see who's customizing modules, and we're seeing a lot of the CapEx module actually using a lot of the out-of-the-box pieces. But Jerry, maybe you guys want to talk to some of that implementation piece as well.
Yeah. To your point, Aaron, a lot of the formulas are out of the box. Oracle prefers that you use their formulas. Of course, you can customize the formulas, but whereas in Hyperion you had to write everything from scratch, you've got those prepackaged canned formulas. And the biggest driver to I think one of the biggest drivers to the implementation time is how many data sources you have. We have one client to scrape to pull data sources in from their supplier. Didn't have, their portal. And we had to go and build an email scraper, and they had over points. So that kind of drove implementation longer. If you've got all your data in a single ERP, then you can see those 6 to 8 week type implementations that you mentioned. Thanks, Aaron.
All right. And as I was saying, you can actually just come in here and just, when Jerry goes through the implementation for you guys, he just would come in here and turn on various processes. So the revenue or gross margin, whether it's products or maybe it's a service, it's just a click of a check button and then you hit enable. You can turn on various expenses. Right now I have marketing, travel, and facilities, but I can turn on compensation and do compensation in the financials. But the reason I have it turned off is because I'm actually just in the financials one. Maybe I want to do compensation in a specific area, which we're calling workforce. I can come in and just turn on compensation over here in the workforce module. And then it has out of the box, the taxes, the benefits. I can turn on, do I want to plan by employee, by job code, or by both? And just has this nice, robust framework. Then you can customize it from there. So these are all the custom dimensions that I built in. Now, a lot of customers say, oh, well, why don't we just put it all into the financials module? Well, it'd be really, really, really cumbersome to have gender, education, all job type, all this stuff in the financials module, as well as all the financial statements. So I can actually see from a financial perspective my workforce plan in a 3-statement model in the workforce module. And then when I'm ready, I can push the data over to the financial statements. And then I can also right-click, drill back, and see just the workforce detail, if you will, or just the CapEx detail or the project detail, or pull in project workforce and CapEx detail into project detail, and then push it over to the financials, core financials. So it's just nice to have that framework built out for you. So it really expedites the time of getting up and running. But is there any other questions, or I can kind of go into a little bit more detail of the financial plan, or whatever is best for you?
Yeah, if you want to go back into the financials.
Okay. So, right now I have a few different flows set up. I'm just going to look at financials real quickly. So we have the long range forecast plan. So this is where you're doing your 3, 5, 10-year plan. Think of it kind of like a box or investment banker in a box. You can come in here and plan out for the CFO, the long range plan, and decide, hey, do I want to do, do I want to acquire a company to create a new product, or maybe I want to increase my R&D budget to create new product lines. I can have all the different scenarios that I want. whether it's, base, actual, forecast, maybe expansion, adding different capital additions, upside down, recession mode or growth mode, premium pricing model, have all those built in, and it has a fully baked in financial statement from the sales to revenue. If I minimize these, here's my total SG&A, minimize sales. So I have sales, and then all the different things that are important to me, and I can group it by activity. Right now, we're just looking at the operating activity. I can look at just the operating drivers, and maybe just keep it as simple as volume times price equals product sales. And then I can simply come in here, right click, and do what's called a goal seek. Where I, maybe right now in 2021, it's 861 million, but maybe I want to hit a billion. I can type in a billion, and it will spread back on all the financial accounts, line items that are affected. It would adjust it for me and move that to a billion. But if you guys are interested in goal seek over the web in this long-term model, it's something we can dig into certainly. But as you ran through all the different, balance sheet, statement, cash flow, it's all fully integrated into the model. Ultimately, you would see the bottom-up plan. And kind of to tie this back to the beginning, if you remember the task list, we were working our strategic goal plan, and then we were at the second task I clicked on was to allocate it down to all the different reportments. Well, here I can come in here, right click, and then I would run that allocation from the base scenario, forecast, expansion, whichever one I wanted, which we saw earlier, and it will spread it back to all these empty cells automatically in running that plan. So this is the top-down portion. And then as the annual operating plan, individual in my department, I would come in and start building up my bottoms up plan for my department. So I can come in here and select, okay, maybe the working version of the plan instead of final, which we were looking at earlier, the final version. We can come in here and select, sales department. And immediately, all these different modules, you're going to see these nice dashboards that are built in for you, whether you're in the revenue or in the expenses side of things. You have these dashboards built in, and then you can drill in on, maybe T&E or other expenses. Here's other expenses. I can drill in on compensation, all the way down to total salaries and total benefits. And then there's salaries, overtime, and benefits. And then this is just a form behind the scenes. So if I was in the same point of view, I could actually go out of here and I could see those comments for earlier that I made on the salary, looking at actual forecast and plan, and maybe I would have commentary here. It's nice to have that visibility, and then certainly the ability to drill in to quarters and all the way down to the months. You certainly can do rolling forecast. So rolling forecast is actually out of the box. So towards the end, I'll flip over to rolling forecast. But notice right now we're in June, and then the rolling forecast is July through December. So I think I have it 18 months out, let's say. And then from here, maybe I want to do some driver-based planning. So I can come in here and maybe I want to look at the marketing expenses, and I can see number of events, cost per event, number of campaigns, cost per campaign, and that results into the total. So if I take number of events times cost per event, I'll get the total marketing events, right? Number of campaigns times cost per campaign, I'll get the total 1.8 million. So if I took that number of campaigns times cost per campaign at 36 times 51,000, ultimately should get me to 1.8 million. If I want to make any adjustments, I can increase it by 10%, or maybe I want to have 4 more events this year. I can just type in 4, hit save, and it's automatically going to update my marketing expense for me in real time. As I increase it to 100, I can see, okay, now it's probably what, 743,000. So that 100 times 743,000 to get my total amounts. And then from there, if there's anything below, you can drill in further if you need to. You have the ability, to not only see it in dashboard view, but now you can see it, the totals that are calculated in the form view, and then I can make an adjustment, a dollar amount adjustment. Maybe I want to increase it by maybe 100,000. So just type in 100K, and not only does it type in 100K, so you saw me do 100K gives me 100,000, but it spreads back proportionally for me. So I just hit save, and in real time, it calculates that dollar amount for me. So it's really nice to have that speed of those calculations for me. And then ultimately, all the different planners, everybody's going to go through their different processes, and then we'll see the financial statements together, rolling up to the total amount. So if I scroll down to the bottom here, I can see my total expenses, minimize it, and then from there I can just drill in to the lowest level and analyze, maybe my marketing expenses here and see that marketing event and see the actuals and then the forecast and plan. And then, some of them I went out a little bit further, but we're currently in FY18 planning for that year. So it's just nice to have all that side by side. We'll come back to the rolling forecast. But ultimately, you want to view it in the income statement form. Well, what's nice is we have the financial logic built in, so you can see year to date, you can see trailing 12 months, you can see forecast, plan versus forecast, and then of course you can do variance as a percentage as well. And then from here, you can, roll up the income statement. If you wanted to go up to a higher level, you can actually, do a currency conversion as well. So I can roll it up, calculate currencies, whichever I'd like to do, it will automatically do that all in real time. And then finally, we would have the ability to see the analysis on all the different KPIs, whether it's, for equity or for assets or whatever KPIs that's important to me on the balance sheet, cash flow, and income statement. We have that ability to see that. And then from there, we could flip over and start doing the same exact type of analysis and planning for any of the different departments, whether it's workforce, CapEx, projects. Just nice to have these pre-built frameworks out of the box. So I can come in here and take a look at, compensation planning, add for new hires, take a look at the summary of all the different people. Or if I wanted to, I can see new hires. So I just right click here and I can add a new hire, change requisition from, their start date, calculate compensation. I don't have to add each one, one by one. I can upload this in mass as well from direct integration with the HCM tool. And then you can see your existing employees as well. And these all can be formed in those reports, whether it's in the narrative reports that we compile, or if it's in the book of reports, or just those one-off reports. You can report on all this information and of course drill into the lowest level of detail, and also drill in all the way to HCM if you wanted to see this data available to you. And then, of course, if you have provisions, you can see the total employee detail of, such as, this is Rob Stark, he's the operation analyst. Right now he's not assigned to a project, but you certainly can assign him to any of these different projects if you'd like. And then you can see all the details for him, including, we can put merit in here, override the merit, skill sets, any training expenses, and then the resulting calculations of FICA. You can put SUTA, FUTA, fringe benefits, medical benefits, car allowance, compensation, bonuses, commission, anything that you want to have built in here, you can. And since I'm in the sales department, I'm only going to see in the context point of view the sales people, right? Sales VP, sales support manager. That's because I clicked on sales. But if I want to click on marketing, it would lock it down so that I would only see marketing people, right? So as I went in to hire new people, went over here to look at various people, I would only see the marketing people. So if I went on marketing, so it's just nice to have that built in. Since Rob's not a marketing person, we're not going to see any data, but it's nice that, hey, I'm in the marketing department, I'm only going to see marketing. And you can do this for any type of point of view. So if you were planning for by product and you were in a certain department, you'd only see the department's products, not a laundry list of thousands of products. So it's nice to have that filtering capability built in. And here's where you'd, plan out, again, since I'm in the marketing department, only seeing marketing people, I can plan out their salary grades, additional earnings, benefits, taxes. So this is where the SUTA, FUTA, and all that would be built in. And you have, just a drop down, a smart list of FICA, FUTA, SUTA, other taxes. And then over in the configuration during the implementation is where you would assign the financial impact to those various smart list drop downs. And then the CapEx module is built very, very, very similar to the workforce module, except instead of adding people or planning for new hires or existing hires, you would have the ability to plan for new assets and manage existing assets, whether it's tangible, intangible. So, whether it's land, buildings, or tangible or intangible, patents, you can build that in as well. And then if you have capital work in progress or construction work in progress, any of the work in progress for the capital assets you can build in, and then it will automatically build in the transition as it goes into service. It will become a real asset. And then all this is integrated into your projects module as well. So the company we were working with was heavy consulting project oriented. So they would leverage their project module to plan out not only their capital expenses, not only their internal projects, but also their contract projects. So we have a built-in module that you can do contract projects. So in this flow, we have contract projects. In this flow, we have internal IT projects. And then this flow is just internal capital projects. But you could come in here and see if you had that project need, you come in and see all the detail, whether it's the total investment by project or by total project. So if I want to look at all the contract projects, it's drop of a button, click of a button to see the total investment, ROI, benefit analysis, and then a breakdown of the different types of, whether it's a fixed price, cost plus, or time and material. You have the ability out of the box to have that all built in. And then you can add those details. So you can add FTEs from workforce. If it had CapEx, you can add CapEx. You can see the labor hours. You can see the cash flow by project. And then you can even do, for revenue recognitions, you can have that earned value or percent complete built in as well. So it has 606 built in out of the box. And here's a list of all the different projects I'm working on, the start date, end date. You can add as many metrics as you want, such as ROI, MPV, whether you're going to use the labor rates or the CapEx rates from the CapEx or workforce module, or just override them and manually enter them in here, or you can enter them into your assumptions in this module. It's all fully integrated. And then, of course, you can build up the expenses per project, the revenue per project if it was revenue generating project, and ultimately give you the analysis. What's nice is this labor part is actually pulled in from workforce, or it can be, or it doesn't have to be. Same with the materials pulled in from CapEx. You can build it into the project, and then this is the total amount for the contract projects, or maybe you just want to look at individual one. We certainly can do that and make our adjustments here. So anytime you see white cells, that's editable, and then anything that's gray is either read only or a calculation. And then certainly, anytime you see a plus sign, you can drill in and see quarter over quarter, year over year, and so on. And here's, direct entry, project expense. So you can see a full P&L for each project. You certainly can plan the revenue. Again, it has 606 compliance built in. You can do driver-based revenue, if it's cost plus, time and materials, or you can do, what if, analysis on your revenue recognition as well. So it's nice to have this all, built in at your fingertips. Of course, it has rolling forecast built in to all the different modules. So you can see the revenue, P&L, profitability. So I can see the profitability by total revenue, total expenses, but also, indirect and direct expenses as well. So I have a list of all my direct expenses as well as all my indirect expenses. So it's nice to have that contribution or gross margin ability by project and get to that granular level ability. And then the cash flow as well, whether it's direct or indirect cash flow. You certainly can see it by source and use of cash, or you can certainly do direct cash flow or indirect cash flow, whichever is important to you. And that's just a click of the button during the configuration to select which type you'd like to use. And then ultimately, here's the overview of the analysis on your profitability of your projects. Lastly, big, important piece is the utilization. So a lot of customers like this module because they can combine the workforce module with projects to see the project utilization by FTE as well. And then they can review their assignments and make adjustments and reassign employees at their fingertips. Again, this is not, project financial planning. This is project financial. This is project financial planning, not, a general ledger. This is not, your ERP system. This is planning it out for you. So as you make these, reassignments, you're really planning for these reassignments in the future. And then of course, rolling forecast. And then you can plan by program. So if you want to have a strategic internal transformational project like going to the cloud, right? Maybe you want to plan that in here for internal projects, or new technology that you're bringing in, or any executive management changes, or the total different strategic programs that you're working on. Just additional dimension that you can leverage for your own needs. And then of course it's all dynamic. But I got another good stopping point, Jerry, and Keenan and Callie, what we can open it up for questions or wrap up, or
Yeah. Jerry, did you have any last minute comments?
No, I think this is really good. You opened the kimono, Aaron. Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.
Awesome. Well, thank you both, Jerry and Aaron. Aaron, I really appreciate you going so in depth in the demo. For everyone still here, if you have any questions, you can email us at hello@viscosityna.com. I'll send you an email so you have that information. Again, thank you all and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Callie.